brothers, our neighbors who are locked up inside the cruel and brutal Wyatt Detention Center right now. Make some noise so they can hear us. My name is Maya. I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. We are just one part of the Rhode Island Deportation Defense Coalition alongside AMOR, Alliance to Mobilize Our Resistance, and ONA, the O'Neillville Neighborhood Association. And we are standing here proudly to defend our immigrant siblings against kidnapping and deportation. For too long, immigration policy has been a way to control people for the benefit of our wealthy oppressors. Shame. The wealthy of this country have always needed imported, cheap immigrant labor. Shame. They've worked to divide, control, and stratify black and white workers through slavery, through discriminatory guest worker programs, through mass deportations, all to maintain that system of oppression. Shame. And we are here today because too many of our community members have been caught up in this immigration system, in this dragnet that ICE is using to sweep up and kidnap our community members from Pawtucket to Providence to Central Falls to Worcester to all parts of this country. And we are demanding free them all. Free them all. Free them all. Free them all! 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 Today is Nakba Day. It is the day of the catastrophe for the Palestinian people when their lands were first cleansed more than 75 years ago. And now it has been more than 3 months of total siege, total starvation, total closure of aid after more than 18 months of escalated genocide against the Palestinian people. Shame. We have to remember that this fight is deeply linked to the fight for immigrant rights. That our students have been targeted for aligning themselves with Palestine and faced with deportation themselves. Shame. It goes to show that the deportation machine is not merely being used to divide workers. It's also being used to try to silence us, to try to silence the cutting edge of people's movements that are fighting back against the U.S. empire and its cruel and brutal infinite wars, which are drawing so many billions of dollars that could be used to feed our families. Shame. Shame! They want to silence the people, but we have the power to free our people. Just in the last few weeks, we freed Mohsen Mahdawi. We freed Rumeysa Oztur. And we freed Badr Khansuri. All students who had been locked up unjustly for their participation in the Palestine struggle. It just goes to show that when we fight, we win. Let me hear you say that. When we fight, when we fight, when we fight, and we have the power to bring our people home. The distinction between legal and illegal immigrants is merely between who the capitalist class has decided are most profitable and favorable to their racist empire. We don't care about the status of our community members. They came here, uprooted themselves from their homes because they had to, and we will fight to keep them here in our community, in their community. We are here to demand freedom for all of our immigrant siblings unjustly held at the Wyatt, and to get loud so they can hear us and know that we are fighting for them. Let's get loud. I want you to be as loud as you can. We have a couple speakers who are joining us here today. We know that just a couple of weeks ago, Roseanne Ferreira de Oliveira was kidnapped off the streets of Worcester, and we have an organizer here from the Party for Socialism and Liberation in Worcester who has been out on the streets fighting to free Roseanne, fighting against ICE in Worcester. Please give a round of applause for Laura.
Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Laura. I'm a member of the Worcester, Massachusetts pre-branch of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And I'm here today to demand the release of our community members, our neighbors, and our loved ones. 1 week ago today in Worcester, 21-year-old Augusta had just left home with her 3-month-old baby and her 17-year-old sister when their car was stopped by ICE. The agents immediately launched into threats. They told Augusta that she may be placed under arrest and that they weren't allowed to leave a baby in the hands of a minor. They warned that she better call the baby's grandmother and have her run over to take custody of them. After she received her daughter's frantic call, Roseanne Ferreira de Oliveira left her home to go to pick up her granddaughter. Soon after, she was in ICE custody. She had been their target from the beginning. They had no intention of detaining Augusta. These monsters used Roseanne's daughters and grandchild as bait. Shame! But Roseanne's neighbors did not make her abduction easy. Dozens of concerned community members poured onto Eureka Street to record and to intervene. They demanded to see a warrant, demands that went ignored. They put their own bodies on the line, forming a human chain around Roseanne, shielding her. It was eventually broken through, but the ICE thugs were still frustrated and greatly outnumbered. So they made a call to who they knew they could count on for help, the Worcester Police Department. Shame! A dozen or more police arrived on the scene. They brutalized community members who were just trying to protect their neighbor, leading to the arrest of Worcester School Committee candidate Ashley Spring. They threatened to arrest Augusta. Roseanne's 17-year-old daughter was wrestled to the ground by several police officers twice her size, rubbing her tear-streaked face into the asphalt as they handcuffed and arrested her too. All while ensuring ICE could make a clean getaway. Outrage over the assault on our community was felt in Worcester instantly. On Friday, in the pouring rain, we flooded Main Street. Scores of us marching to demand ICE out of Worcester and to demand WPD stop all collusion with ICE. On Sunday, scores more protested at City Hall. On Tuesday, scores more still. Even after the city deemed our presence a security concern, shutting down City Hall in an attempt to block public participation at the City Council meeting we were all there for. Shame. Shame! But it's not enough to be angry. We have to be organized. The events of the last week have brought a new sense of urgency and unity to community organizers in Worcester. Now we're uniting under the cause of defending our immigrant neighbors. We're working together to raise awareness of and volunteers for LUCE, the statewide ICE hotline and rapid response task force in Massachusetts, which played a pivotal role in the community response on Eureka Street. We're working together to distribute Know Your Rights materials and red cards. We're working together to organize and to mobilize our community. But it doesn't start and end in Worcester. It doesn't start and end in Massachusetts or in Rhode Island. We can't let the local battles we're all fighting stay local. After all, ICE isn't. Roseanne was abducted in Worcester, Massachusetts. Here we are a week later in Central Falls, Rhode Island. Mahmoud Khalil was abducted in New York. More than 2 months later, he's still locked away in Louisiana. Shame! Families and communities are getting ripped apart by ICE all over the United States. Their loved ones being deported or being sent to detention centers multiple states or even countries away with zero due process. Shame! Shame! To win any lasting protection and security for our communities, we must recognize each of our local struggles for immigrant justice as part of a larger nationwide struggle for immigrant justice. just as we must recognize the struggle for immigrant justice as part of the larger global struggle of the working class against the far-right capitalist ruling class. Ruling class billionaires have been hoarding wealth and resources to a degree that we have never seen before in human history.
Shame.
Shame. They've been destroying our unions, cutting our social safety nets, killing our planet, profiting off of war, genocide, slavery, toppling governments, and sowing instability in the global south, causing global crisis after global crisis for decades while they get richer and richer and richer. And yet they want us to believe that our working class neighbors, be they immigrant or black or brown or trans or pro-Palestinian, our neighbors have somehow wronged us even more?
Shame.
That's bullshit! They want us to eat each other so that we don't eat them. The fight for our immigrant neighbors, for our communities, the fight against ICE, against Trump and the billionaire agenda, we must understand that these are important battles in a larger class war, a war that we can only win together as a united, conscious, and organized working class. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. Hi. This is going to be very hard for me. My name is Tina. I am Laotian and Vietnamese, a daughter of immigrants from Laos. I grew up in Hillside, aka Smith Hill in Providence. I was a youth leader and board member at Providence Youth Student Movement. I am the first in my family to receive a bachelor's degree and master's degree. Since graduating, I've led community organizations, spoken at national conferences, published a children's book, and bought a house for my parents. I would not be the person I am today without my parents. I would not have the opportunities I had and accomplish the things I've had if my parents never came to this country. And yet, from the moment they stepped foot on this land, my parents have been treated as unimportant and disposable. In 2010, my dad was detained by ICE, kept in a detention center for 5 months, deported to Laos, and was not allowed to come back to the United States for 12 years.
Shame.
I was 16 years old at the time. My sister was 12. The last moment we saw my dad before he was deported is burned into my memory. My mom, sister, and I went to the Bristol County Detention Center, which was 45 minutes away from our house, for our usual visit with my dad. We wait in the lobby until it's our turn, and once my dad's name is called, we go into the room where you're able to talk with your loved ones. It's a room lined with individual phone stalls separated by a divider. You sit in your designated stall and wait, and you see them enter the room on the other side of the thick glass. My dad sits down, and we both pick up the phone and start talking with each other. But this day it was different. He told us that his case was being reviewed for decision the next day, and he wasn't sure what would happen. So this may be the last time we get to see him. And if it is, that he loves us and we need to be good, study hard, help around the house, and be strong, especially for my mom. We cried hysterically, held our hands up to the glass, and he held up his. And all he could say was bye, and it's going to be okay. 2 days later, we received a call from my dad, and he told us he was in Laos. Just like that, he was halfway across the world. And I need to remind you that I was 16 years old, and my sister was 12. And my mom, who worked a low-paying factory job, was left to raise 2 children on her own on a single income. My dad didn't get to see me or my sister walk across any stage for our high school diplomas, bachelor degrees, or my master's degree. He didn't get to see my mom beat cancer twice. He didn't get to see us move into our new home that we now own. And he was forced to miss out on all of it. All because he was deported to a country where hundreds all because he was deported to a country where hundreds of thousands fled because of U.S. terrorism. During the American War in Southeast Asia, the U.S. Air Force indiscriminately carpet bombed Cambodia and Laos, dropping over 2 million tons of explosives. This amounts to 1,500 pounds of ordnance for every single person in Laos, making it the most heavily bombed nation in history. To this day, unexploded ordnance still litter the countryside of Laos, and to this day, the U.S. still has not taken responsibility. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, or what we call the American War in Southeast Asia. 2025 also marks 50 years of Southeast Asia resettlement here in Rhode Island. The deep scars of war and genocide and the legacies of U.S. militarism continue to haunt us. Yet, our spirit of resistance, our resilience has remained unbroken. Fueling our tireless efforts to rebuild our lives, our communities, and our very souls, even in countries like the U.S. that are hostile to refugees like us, yet continue to create refugees like us. Never forget, we are here because of the U.S. was there. And the very same refugees that the U.S. created are being kidnapped, detained, and deported back to the same countries that U.S. bombed. This isn't unique to Southeast Asians. This is happening to many immigrant communities here in Rhode Island. And we must unite as immigrant and refugee communities to fight back. The detention and the deportation of my father is a painful experience that no one deserves to know. I fought so hard for my father to return to Rhode Island, to return home, to return to us. For 12 years, I did whatever I could to bring him back to Rhode Island. And we were able to bring him back on June 6, 2022. It breaks me to see that the fear, terror, and heartache is happening again in our community, and it's even worse than before. Right here in Rhode Island, right here at Wyatt, ICE is detaining our friends and family. People are scared for their lives. This is not a small fear. This is a fear of being taken against your will, locked up in a facility where your specific needs are not met, and ripped away from your family without a moment's notice. This is a fear of completely losing control of your life because the state treats you as less than human.
Dictatorship.
We are not talking about statistics. We are not talking about abstract policies that the government makes impossible to understand. We are talking about real people. Our neighbors, our elders, our children, our loved ones. We are talking about parents dropping their kids off at school who don't know if they'll make it home. We're talking about refugees who risk everything to seek safety or build a better life, only to have it ripped from them at a traffic stop or a knock on the door. And what hurts most is knowing that this fear is all part of their plan. It is created by policies that are designed to make us disappear, to punish us for surviving, to erase us from the places we've called home. But we are not silent. We are not erased. We are still here. Every time we show up, every time we rally together, we remind them that we are not alone. We will not let them kidnap our loved ones without a fight. The thing that my dad felt deeply in detention was that he was alone and no one cared about him or his life. So showing up also reminds us, our friends and family that have been detained and deported, that we are still standing with them and here for them. I'm here to speak their names, to be loud so the folks inside Wyatt will know that they are not alone and that we are here to fight for them. I'm here to speak of Sambo, a Cambodian father who was kidnapped by ICE in March. I'm here to speak of Manutam, a Laotian refugee who's been in Wyatt for months now. I'm here to speak of Vanity, a beloved Laotian community member who was taken at his check-in in March. And I'm here to speak of Casey, detained 2 weeks ago at his mother's waited in the parking lot. I'm here to speak of all the immigrants and refugees who are detained at Wyatt Free them all! Free them all!
Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Free them all!
It may not always feel like enough. I know how hard it is to keep showing up when the pain keeps coming. I know how exhausting it is to fight a system that keeps telling you your people don't matter. I know because I stepped away from it for years. But I am reminded that our communities need people who show up and speak out, or else we all suffer in silence and nothing changes. One thing my dad always said when he spent those 12 years away from us was that as long as we have each other, we'll be okay. When we come together, when we speak names and share stories, when we demand that our families stay together, we are not asking for permission to exist. We are demanding that our people live freely, safely, and are protected and loved. And what we can hope for is that if we continue to be with each other, one day we'll be okay. More than okay, we'll be free. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out today. It's days like this when we're able to mobilize quickly that we show that we're not going to stand by and let members of our community be taken, and we're going to resist. My name is Sophia, and I work with AMOR, the Alliance to Mobilize Our Resistance, and we are demanding that the Wyatt Detention Facility be shut down. I'm going to speak a bit today about the work that our community response team has been doing to reach out to folks inside of the Wyatt. Our team of volunteers have been working tirelessly, communicating every day of the week with folks who are detained by ICE here in this detention facility. We receive reports that are familiar to anyone who has dealt with a prison or ICE detention facility. At the Wyatt, folks are denied timely access to medical care.
Shame!
They are denied basic hygiene.
Shame!
They are denied access to nutritional and culturally appropriate food.
Shame!
And when they speak out, folks are placed in solitary confinement or separated from their people.
Shame!
Folks held in this facility are made to wait for far too long to receive their medications. Folks should not be made to wait months to access their diabetes medications. Folks reporting chest pain deserve timely access to medical care. They should not be made to languish in their rooms without access to a doctor. We are watching as the rate of deaths of folks held in ICE detention across the country climbs. We know that detention facilities like the Wyatt are not made to house our elderly and our sick, our children and our infants. But time and again, ICE picks up our most vulnerable neighbors and places them in inhumane conditions that put their lives at risk. Yay! Prisons are not places of care. They are not places of respect. And they are not places of dignity.
Shame! Shame!
There is no justification for pulling our parents, our children, our aunts, our uncles, our partners, our friends, and our neighbors off of the street, out of their communities and away from their families, away from their homes and places of work, and being placed into ICE detention facilities like the Wyatt, while ICE puts them through lengthy and unjust trials to intimidate, fracture, and traumatize our immigrant communities. Right now, the AMOR Community Fund for ICE detainees has been created to support folks who are held at the Wyatt so that they can access resources to make phone calls to the outside and buy basic necessities through commissary. If you can, take the time and go to our Instagram page and you can support our Community Fund for ICE detainees to help show folks who are in detention at the Wyatt that they are not alone, that we have not forgotten them. The Wyatt is, and every single detention facility in this country is a business. The more beds they fill, the more money their private investors make. The longer they delay freeing people from detention, the more money they make. The Wyatt earns $180.97 every day for each person that is held in ICE detention. Since 2019, the contract that ICE has with the Wyatt has been in place because investors like Invesco sued the city of Central Falls to prevent them from ending the ICE contract. We recognize that when investors call the shots, the most important thing are their profits and the number of beds filled, not the humanity and rights of the people it keeps detained. This deadly economics has ruled the Wyatt Detention Center since its founding and has led to the expansion of ICE detention in spite of all of the patterns of neglect that are experienced by people here at the Wyatt. Shame. Our goal here today is to end the ICE contract and shut down the Wyatt. Our goal is connected to the movement to put an end to the rogue arm of the state that can lock up anyone it chooses with impunity and without due process. We understand that all ICE detention facilities across the country, all prisons across the country must be shut down. That is why we are here today demanding abolish ICE! Shut down the Wyatt! Free them all! 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 Free them all!
Free them all! Free them!
Day out to try to reunite them with their families and to end ICE kidnappings. Make some noise! If you want to take ICE off our streets, make some noise! If you want to end the unjust imprisonment of our community members, make some noise! So we're going to spend a little bit of time marching, picketing down the sidewalk just around the corner to make sure that they know inside that we see them, we love them, and we are fighting to free them from this racist system. Make some noise for that. If you've got a banner, we invite you to stay posted at a spot along the sidewalk. If you're anybody else, we're going to start marching in a circle down the sidewalk, potentially out onto the street. I don't know. What's the vibe? We'll see. You'll feel it out. But let's get marching. Aquí estamos.
Aquí estamos.
Y no nos vamos.
Y no nos vamos.
Y si nos echan,
Y si nos echan,
nos volveremos.
nos volveremos.
Aquí estamos.
End all deportations now.
End all deportations now.
End all deportations now.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Release Mahmoud Khalil now.
Release Mahmoud Khalil now.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Free Vanity now.
Free Vanity now.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Release GMG now.
Release DMG now.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice.